So what I understand is Peter Seidler was not the 100% owner of the Padres. He owned an interest in the Padres. There are other owners. And when a business is owned by multiple owners, especially, a very valuable business owned by smart, wealthy people, they're going to have an agreement among the owners. And that agreement is going to say, what happens if an owner dies? And it probably says, how do we select who is the controlling person of this team? If we have 25 owners, we can only have one person in, sort of representing the team. So there's all of that, which kind of goes against Schiel's case. It just probably doesn't matter what Peter wrote down. I want my wife to be the controller. He probably can't do that. The business documents probably don't permit that. Again, and we are purely speculating. We haven't seen these documents. It's just, what we do know. And the last thing about that is, Major League Baseball itself controls what happens in Major League Baseball to a large extent. So there are probably rules about this. Perhaps Major League Baseball has to approve whoever they select as the controlling person. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that the rules of Major League Baseball ownership are intricate and beyond my comprehension. That's what I would just posit, that there probably is that also. So Peter doesn't just get to write down on a piece of paper, this is what I want. Okay, so that's enough for me. Ariana. But let's talk about that handwritten instrument. So that is a pure estate planning issue.
Absolutely. And we all kind of, know the riskiness of the handwritten instruments, whether it's a trust amendment, a will. There are certain formalities that you have to follow. Anytime you see something that is handwritten, it just opens up that door to litigation and to speculation and to, well, did he really draft this? When did he draft it? Was he in his right mind? And it brings up so many questions than it does solve any answers. So it's really just opening up that door to, just a plethora of litigation, which is the case here in this situation. It kind of emphasizes the importance of making sure that if you do want to have a amendment to your trust, to make sure that that's followed through the correct procedures legally, and working with a legal professional obviously is the best way to ensure that the document will be procedurally correct under, we're in California, so under California law. And so that's kind of the riskiness there whenever you see a handwritten document. That was the biggest thing in litigation. Anytime you see handwritten, always one of those.
The lawyers are rubbing their hands together.
Yeah.
We love that. Yeah. Following, good practice and the formalities of the instruments and the formalities required by the probate code just kind of at least gets that issue off the table. Like, was this is this a legitimate change? You still then will have the issue of, was she threatening him? How did she coerce him to do this?